I'm Chimwemwe Mangazi with Business Time on Times. This is a magazine program where we bring you business and economic news stories making headlines. In the program today, Minister challenges local manufacturers on import substitution. Also in the program, Malawi launches Comesa electronic certificate of origin. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. Minister of Trade and Industry Sosten Gwengwe has challenged local manufacturers to enhance import substitution efforts in a quest to contain the country's widening trade deficit. This follows revelations that Malawi's trade deficit reached negative $1.9 billion, about 3.3 trillion kwacha between January and October 2024. Benedetta Chiwandamia has more in this report.
Speaking during a tour of some manufacturing companies in Blantyre, Gwengwe highlighted the need for suitable financing and regulatory support to enable local enterprises thrive and offset the costly reliance on imports.
We first of all visited our colleagues that are putting up a fertilizer plant in Chilega, Blantyre, and it's very impressive because the import substitution that you can achieve once we start making some local fertilizers is huge, and that will have a huge impact on our trade deficit, because on the import side you would know that we're spending quite a lot buying fertilizers, and the more we're able to do our own local fertilizers that suit our own local soils, then we'll reduce our appetite for imported inorganic fertilizers, so to speak, and that's good for the country, not only on our trade deficit, but you know that the less we import stuff, the more we have our foreign exchange used for other purposes. So we want to save on forex, we would want to reduce our trade deficit, we would want to be self-sufficient with fertilizers that are tailor-made to our own soils, so to speak. And that coming from local Malawians, we thought it wise to encourage them, to assure them that government will continue coming up with policies that or even the regulatory and legal regime that support such kind of initiatives. And also coming here, you've seen our young people with skills, calibration of scales, medical equipment, fuel equipment, the tankers and the like, is something that we've always outsourced from the region. And to now have young Malawians who are now able to do this thing properly certified locally, it is saving a lot of time for our business people, it is saving a lot of money for our business people, because it's being done locally here. And we want to encourage even younger generation, the younger people with various skills in ICT, skills in calibration, skills in any other areas that they have mastered into, that come forward, and government is ready to work with you.
RUDI's board chairman, Hastings Bofomo Nyirenda, says the company needs 400 million kwacha to complete its fertilizer plant.
So this project is the first of its kind here in Malawi. It's about production of granulated organic fertilizer. This is purely organic fertilizer that will probably have not been largely used in Malawi. We're trying to put it for the first time. So as you're seeing at the moment, we are at the point of completion of our factory and also installation of machinery. So if you ask me at what level we are of completion, I might say we're actually 80% complete. And it's at 20% that we're actually chasing now. All other things being equal, or everything being available as expected, by end of January, it was our desire that we complete production.
Managing Director of Benko Technologies Limited, Sinai Mwagomba, highlights the potential of local industries to meet domestic market needs.
Here our main line of business is calibration of industrial and medical equipment. I don't know if you understand well the word calibration. It means to compare the readings of some gadgets, like measuring and testing equipment, to standards and make sure that they are working as they are required to work. Well, for us it's a joy. It means our services are recognized in the country. As you heard him say, we have substituted quite a lot of services that we are importing from outside. He mentioned South Africa, but some services were coming from France, from the UK, and indeed many other outside countries. But now we are serving Forex, we are doing those locally here.
Finance Project Manager Raf Tseka expressed satisfaction with the project's achievements.
We are happy that most of the businesses have now been upscaled, and after the effects of the COVID-19, we can actually see some indicators. First, there has been a lot of job creation that has actually happened. And secondly, there are some businesses that are actually involved in import substitution, like the one we are actually seeing here. Secondly, we had the indicators of actually including women in businesses. Out of 43,000 businesses that have been financed through Finance, you find out that 40% are now women, and that was our target by the end of the project. For the youth, we had a target or an indicator of about 20%. We are more or less at 18%, meaning that the target is actually being met.
Malawi's trade deficit reached negative $1.9 billion between January and October 2024.
Malawi has become the second country to launch the Comesa electronic certificate of origin after Eswatini. During the launch of the e-certificate of origin on Tuesday in Blantyre, it transpired that the development would do away with bureaucratic delays for exporters and reduce fraud for tax authorities. Bones Sumani is Comesa Senior Customs Affairs Officer and explains.
The launch of the Comesa electronic certificate of origin in Malawi means that people in Malawi are expected now to start using the electronic certificate of origin. So every exporter wishing to export under the Comesa trade agreement will be required to have an account with the ECOM system. That's at national level. That's the Malawi Revenue Authority National Electronic Certificate of Origin System. So for the Malawi Revenue Authority National Electronic Certificate of Origin System, it's integrated to the Comesa Electronic Certificate of Origin System. So the exporter will register an account with the Malawi National ECOM system. And once that registration is done, the exporter will apply as an exporter under the Comesa trade agreement. Officials from the Malawi Revenue Authority will have to attend to that application, and where need be, officials from the Malawi Revenue Authority, the Malawi Customs and Excise Division officers would have to go and inspect premises of the manufacturer of the goods. Once they are satisfied that the goods that are produced have made the Comesa rules of origin, then Malawi Customs officials will register that exporter as an exporter under the Comesa trade agreement. Upon that registration, then this exporter will now be able to apply for a certificate of origin to export under the Comesa trade agreement. So any other processes that will be required, for example, to get the certificate of origin and also for verification of that Comesa certificate of origin, all that will now be done online. In terms of benefits of utilizing the electronic certificate of origin, this will reduce delays that arise using the paper or manual version of the Comesa certificate of origin. Currently, with the paper version of the Comesa electronic certificate of origin, verification of the authenticity of the Comesa electronic certificate of origin is done using email, so that takes some time. But now one can just scan the QR code on the electronic certificate of origin and be able to see whether that electronic certificate of origin is valid or not. So that will reduce clearance delays, as well as reducing the cost of doing business in Malawi, as well as other Comesa member states that are going to use the electronic certificate of origin.
And Christina Zakeo is Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Trade.
Comesa is now practicing it's called the Comesa Digital FDA. So with that in mind, they have introduced what we are calling the Comesa Electronic Certificate of Origin. And that particular certificate of origin is supposed to be used by our traders whenever they are importing or exporting anything from Malawi to other members within the Comesa region. So today, because most of these processes, they've been done all along, they were being done using the manual way of doing things. You would move with the document from one place to the other. They would go to the Malawi Revenue Authority, they would go to the chambers of commerce to process these documents whenever they would want to import or export anything. So in this case today, we have launched this electronic certificate of origin. What it means is that anyone that wants to export products within our Comesa region, they will have to go online and process their documentation. And what it means is there will no longer be need for anyone to go to any office to process this thing. You just get your laptop, you just get your phone and process everything online. So we are so grateful to Comesa and of course to the European Union for giving all this particular support to ensure that Malawi launches its first electronic certificate of origin at the national level. So as a ministry responsible for trade, we are responsible for facilitating trade facilitation programs, and we have included the launch of the electronic certificate of origin as one of the most important reforms as we do trade facilitation at the national level. You know, actually, we are so excited that we are the second country within the Comesa region to implement this electronic certificate of origin. The very first country is Eswatini, and we are the second one, and we look forward to other countries like Zambia, who are now also so advanced. So what we are saying is that it's good for the private sector, as I have clearly indicated. You don't need to go to anybody's office to prepare these documents, but you just go online and immediately you process everything. So in that way, that is going to reduce any delays that have been there, and we encourage our private sector to take advantage of this particular system.
Malawi Revenue Authority Acting Commissioner for Customs Cornelius Kwesa says the e-certificate will help curb fraud.
It means quite a lot for MRI because firstly it will enhance revenue because it will reduce origin fraud. Origin fraud is whereby a product or a consignment is said to originate from a beneficiary company, yet it does not. So because of that, we are sometimes losing revenue because we clear the goods as if they are coming from within a Comesa member state, yet they are just coming from another country that is outside the Comesa. With the e-certificate of origin, the verification exercise on where the goods actually come from becomes easier and verifiable, and it benefits the Malawi Revenue Authority in such a way that it is easy to do business and it is easy to verify. Therefore, fraud will be eliminated. But secondly, we usually want to treat our customers as quickly as possible. With the paperwork, we have to verify the signature, so we have to communicate with the originating authority whether the signature that is on the certificate is really genuine or is true. But with the e-certificate of origin, that can be verifiable as we are verifying all the other documents for customs. So there are several benefits, and it gives even confidence to the importer that he won't take much time to clear his goods. And you know, time is money, and time is always of essence when we are clearing goods.
Press Corporation Limited on Tuesday signed a power purchase agreement with Electricity Supply Corporation of Malawi, ECOM, to deliver 50 megawatts of solar power. This marks the nation's first ever large-scale solar project entirely driven by a local private entity. Our journalist Benedetta Chiwandamia witnessed the event and now reports.
PCL Chief Executive Officer Ronald Mangani says the 50 megawatt solar project located in Nkoma, Lilongwe, will increase reliance on renewable energy and reduce dependence on hydropower.
So today is a huge day for us. It's a big day for us. It's a milestone that we have achieved. We just signed a power purchase agreement with ECOM. And we've done so through our subsidiary, wholly owned subsidiary, Press Energy Limited. This day means that we are now at a stage where we can begin to implement the project. We can develop the solar farm and eventually add at least 50 megawatts of power into the national grid. It's a very, very big day for us. We felt that we have an obligation to make a contribution to address a national problem, namely the shortage of adequate energy in the country. But we also want to demonstrate, as we have always done, that domestic capital can play a meaningful role in the development of this country. And therefore, this is a space that has been dominated by foreign investments. We thought that it is an obligation on our part to demonstrate that we can also move into this space and contribute significantly to the development of this country through the generation of renewable energy. So from the materialization of this, obviously we'll be contributing to energy generation in the country. We'll also be contributing to employment creation in the country, but we'll also be contributing to the saving of foreign exchange, because we're talking about a locally financed project that we'll be implementing. And therefore the benefits are quite enormous. And most importantly, among other things, we'll also be demonstrating to other domestic investors that this is doable, this can be done, and obviously lessons will be drawn from the experience that we'll be going through. So we have a timeline, and by that timeline, within a period of 2 years from now, we should be able to implement the project to a point where we're beginning to put power into the national grid, provided that there will be no unknown unknowns that will prevent us from actually meeting those deadlines.
ECOM Chief Executive Officer Kankwamba Kumwenda says PCL will be selling power in local currency, unlike the current situation with other independent power producers.
Yeah, this is very welcome news. To begin with, this is the first local investor investing in the power sector. We can welcome an idea for the country. We should not depend on foreign investors to come and invest in the power sector in the country. It's very risky. So we're very excited that this year through Press Energy Limited has come forward to invest in the power sector, the first of this kind for a local investor to invest in the power sector.
Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority Director of Finance, Zakaria Ngoma, says the regulator has in place legal frameworks to support more local investors into joining the sector.
This is a very important agreement, especially that it's the first agreement in the electricity sector that is signed between Malawian companies. So we have a Malawian investor investing in the electricity sector in the country, when previously we only had foreign investors investing in the sector, especially in the solar field. Government is looking into all those IPPs that signed the agreements to make sure all those projects came on board so that the nation should benefit from the services that those IPPs are intending to provide to the nation. So very soon they will come on.
The project, with an estimated investment cost of $55 million, is expected to start selling power within 2 years.
Well, with that item, we've come to the end of today's edition of Business Time on Time. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Chimwemwe Mangazi. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Bye for now.